In the name of the Emperor, finish this! Higher ground, we'll gain the advantage! Continue the assault! Reinforcements are coming! The monolith! We destroy that and this is over! Charge!
Hello everybody and welcome back to the 41st Millennium where there is only war. I'm your host Ross and today we are carrying on our playthrough through the Dawn of War series with the next installment in the franchise, which is Dawn of War Dark Crusade. A fantastic game. Dawn of War, for me and for a lot of folk, is one of the, when Dawn of War really became good, because not only did it add two new factions, the Tau Empire and the Necrons, as playable factions, it also changed how the campaign works. So in Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War Winter Assault, you don't really have a choice over the factions you play as, and you're playing through a very story driven campaign with set missions, etc. Dark Crusade puts you into a sort of risk style game where you are competing with all other factions to take over territories of a planet and ultimately take full control of the planet. So it's going to be a bit more open of a campaign. You get to choose where you start your fights, you get to sort of plan out, you don't have to go mission to mission, which is really quite fun, and the multiplayer for this game was fantastic as well. So if you hadn't guessed already, we're going to be playing this campaign as the Tau Empire, because they are my favourite faction and they are who I play on the tabletop with. And you'll get to see in just a minute what I mean by a risk style campaign. Now, one of the other things they did was they added in a sort of narrator, voiceover artist, I don't know, to kind of do little bits here and there. So I think when I press new, and once I confirm all our settings, we'll get a little bit of a cutscene to explain it. We'll go on normal just for video 6.
Planet Kronos, beset on all sides by the tides of war, this once quiet colony became a savage battlefield. 7 armies clashed on this one world, each refusing to back down, each convinced it was in the right. From beneath the sands of Kronos' central desert came the Necrons, ancient machines bent on eradicating all life. But another evil already had its eyes on the planet. From the depths of the war, the demonic forces of chaos arrived to enforce their claim. To oppose these fearsome powers, the planet's rulers in the Tau Empire sent their elite soldiers and sophisticated battlesuits into the fray. From the mighty Imperium of Man came the Imperial Guard, there to secure Kronos for the glory of the God Emperor. Like a green tide, the Orc Horde descended on Kronos, caring little for others' claims and sowing destruction in its wake. The Eldar, ancient enemies of the Necrons, emerged from their webway to pursue their own agenda on Kronos. And last came the Space Marines, finest and most uncompromising of the Imperium's soldiers. Seeing a world beset by aliens and heretics, they undertook a great purge. A dark crusade had begun. It could only end with the total victory of one of these factions, and the total defeat of all others.
And there you go, that kind of sets you up for the game. So, you get to pick what race you play as. You can play as the Tau, which is what we're going to be doing. You get the Space Marines, you get the Orcs, the Necrons, the Imperial Guard, the Eldar, and the Forces of Chaos. Now what's also quite fun is that, as you see here, you have your commander. Each faction's got them. As you progress through the game and you win victories, you take territories and things like that, you unlock war gear to equip to your commander to make them more powerful in battle. And it's a really, really good way of leveling up a character that you wouldn't necessarily associate in an RTS as to leveling up. And for me, it's pretty quiet. Here we go.
Was a threat the Tau Empire could not ignore. With their doctrine built firmly around the so-called greater good, the Tau could not tolerate seeing a thriving colony taken away from them. The Ethereals, leaders of the Empire, responded to the distress signals from Kronos by sending some of their best and brightest to retake the world. Aunel Shorez was among the most lauded of a new generation of the ethereal caste. He would be responsible for restoring proper order to this wayward world. With him came the military leader, Shas Okais, a student of the teachings of Commander Puretide. Okais brought a massive force of fire caste warriors, as well as auxiliaries from the Tau's allied races, the Krut and the Vespid. Tau ground forces landed in the city of Tashin, or Ashanis, to use its true imperial name. And from there began the Crusade to retake the planet as a whole.
Okay, so we've met our two heroes, our two commanders. We have the Firecast commander, Shazo Kayas, and our Ethereal as a kind of secondary commander. And this is how the game kind of looks. This is what the campaign map looks like. So as you can see, we have control. This is our HQ territory here. Each territory, you'll see a number hovering over them. So like for example here, it has number 1. That's the strength of that province and how difficult that battle is going to be. So the higher the number, which you'll notice if you look at the fortresses, it's like 11, 12 for the Orcs. 12 for the Necrons is how tough it's going to be to kind of take that territory. So we are going to look for some quick advancements. I have already played this game before. I do not need your helps. So another thing that happens is once you take a territory, so for example if we take this territory, you get a bonus of Fire Warrior bodyguards. This means that you can buy these units and they will spawn in at the start of the mission with your commander. Your commander also has some special abilities that you can get by taking certain territories. And you have all the war gear that you can unlock, so there is a fair bit to do. Your certain territories, like I said, gave you special abilities. So this one, for example, the Aerial Highlands, or yeah, I think that's how you say it, gives you bulwark. Gain control of production facilities, making defensive preparations easier. Because this is, again, another thing you can do. You can reinforce these territories. We go to our HQ and go to reinforce. You can actually buy units to start that mission off with if you're ever attacked. Super handy. Now, you see the red arrows here? This is the areas that we can attack, we can move to. So we can either go and attack the Panria lowlands, and we'll get ourselves a veteran stealth team. We can go to the Western Barns and get some Vespid Elder Strain, or we can go and attack the Agamar Desert and get some Fire Warriors. And to be honest, I'm tempted to go for the Fire Warriors first. Because in this game, the Space Marines I'm not overly concerned about. We're a pretty good counter for the Space Marines. Eldar are a pretty tough counter for us. Mainly because they have a lot of stealth units, like Rangers and stuff. They can go invisible, they can hide their bases. We really only have Pathfinders that can sort of detect them. The Necrons overall are just tough. Chaos, we're not going to see a lot of Chaos, to be honest. They're on the other side of the planet from us. And the Imperial Guard, I'm pretty confident we are going to stick away from for now. In fact, yeah, we'll quickly take this territory because it's a level 1, and then we'll maybe think about moving over to here to get ourselves some crisis teams. Starting off with a crisis team right at the start of the mission, very early campaign, probably a good way to go. And basically this boils down to 2 different mission types that you're going to be playing. Total destruction, completely wipe the enemy off the map, or take and hold, which is where the mission specifies that you have to take a certain position, or you have to capture so many critical locations, etc. Or control so many like power deposits, all that sort of stuff. And I've been playing a lot of the mods. I forget just how zoomed in this is even. It's really far. But yeah, when I first played this game, I loved the way the Tau bases looked. I love the stealth suits. Stealth suits are awesome. So this is our commander, Shazo Kayas. Which, if you ever read the books, is basically the Tau name for Jim. It's the most common name ever. And the Tau, if you're ever playing the Tau, you want to put them on hold ground position because they're not good at melee in any capacity. They've got crit, which are okay, but their power really lies with these guys here, the Fire Warriors. They have, I think in the game, they have the longest range and the most powerful guns for standard infantry, but their sight line is atrocious, so you need to partner them with Pathfinders. Pathfinders are kind of our scouts. Unfortunately, we need to build some power generators first before we can upgrade to having Pathfinders. Okay, so there's an Orc war boss. We're going to hold the Fire Warriors off the side. Now our commander doesn't actually have a melee stat. You'll see down here melee damage is 0, but range damage is 100 to 120. And the hope here is basically that if our commander can tank this for long enough, and actually if we put target acquired on him, he'll do some more damage. We'll get the Fire Warriors to put in some shots as well. We could probably get our Fire Warrior squad built. Okay, not great. We're already being fall back. Just keep running away from them just now. Let's get some Vespid. Vespid are a strange unit. As you can see, orcs just annihilate us if they get into range. If they get into close combat range. Where's my stealth suit? Stop capturing that and help. We'll get some Kroot. They at least can kind of stand up in melee, because we are awful. The Vespid as well can kind of do this. There you go, Sonic Pulse. That will give him a bit of knockback. Do that. This lone Fire Warrior that for some reason was able to stand up to a war boss. There we go. Right, so the Kroot, you actually do want them on hold ground. You don't want them to stand ground, you want them on hold ground. So they'll chase targets a little bit, but they won't overcommit to chasing them across the battlefield. Now the Kroot have a really fun ability, which is Cannibalize. So the Kroot are basically a race of creatures that whenever they kill something and eat it, they take on the traits of the being that they're eating. So if they, in terms of the lore, like if they were to eat an orc, they would get really strong. If they were to eat something that had wings, like a Vespid for example, they would gain the ability to fly. They would be able to grow wings themselves. In terms of the game, all it does is it puts their maximum health up. So if you have like one unit of Kroot, so say like this unit, and we keep them alive this whole match, and they feed on everything they can end up having a massive, massive health bar. I've seen a couple times where I've managed to get Kroot to have more health than the likes of, Space Marine Land Raiders and things like that. Just insane amounts of health. The only problem is when you put them in this cannibalize mode, they will just run off, and if you're not careful, you can end up having them run off into enemy territory. So with the Tau, unlike the Space Marines and the Imperial Guard, where they increase their population cap by either doing research or building barracks, the Tau do it by building research facilities. The path to enlightenment Enlightenment is 1. The Montka or the Kaoyong command posts, they are 1, and the Coalition Centre is 1 as well. So we want our stealth team. We'll upgrade you guys and go see if you can capture that relic. So as you can imagine, from the attack that we just had from that Orc War Boss and a couple of boys, you can see kind of why it's good to have some Honour Guard units to start off with at the start of each match, just in case the enemy decides to rush you like they did me. Okay, and I'll get you guys to eat them. Okay, no, maybe not, there's more of them. So this is where the Tau kind of work the best. They do have a little bit of time to set up the Fire Warriors, but they work really best when they've got another unit that can tie up close combat armies like the Orc, so that the Fire Warriors can just kind of sit back and shoot them. We don't have enough for our commander yet. To be honest, in the first few levels of the game, like the first few territories you're taking, your commander's not going to be much use to you. They would really become better when you can start applying war gear to them. How are we getting on? Getting there. And so yeah, at the minute this is all we can kind of do until we get the Path of Enlightenment online, which we have just finished, and now we unlock Pathfinder teams and broadside battle suits. So we're going to build a Pathfinder team first of all once we have the cash, because Pathfinders are very important if you're playing Tau. And we've now unlocked a couple more structures. So we have the Kroot Shaping Centre. This is for if you want to build more Kroot based units, such as Kroot Hounds, Krootoks, Kroot Shapers, which are like little commanders. You also have the Vehicle Pool, or Vehicle Beacon even, which allows you to build the armour of the Tau, armoured units, which we'll be working towards in just a sec. And if you go to your HQ, one of the really important upgrades for stealth suits is the burst cannon enhancements. It's relatively cheap, but also the jetpack one allows them to jump around the map like assault marines from the first game. So here we have our Pathfinders. Pathfinders are incredibly squishy units. They are scouts, but they have an incredible sightline. And one of the most important abilities in the Tau Empire, which is marking squads with marker lights. Basically, you plant that on a unit, and all other Tau units get this massive buff to their ranged attacks against it, and you can use that to basically annihilate a unit. But like I said, Pathfinders, very squishy units. Broadside battlesuits, heavy infantry, surprisingly infantry, really effective against vehicles and buildings because they have either missile launchers like on their gauntlets, like boxing gloves, or they've got these massive rail guns strapped to their shoulders which look amazing. They can also dig in to kind of become mobile turrets. Very handy against things like the Imperial Guard, who get access to tanks quite quickly. Now we want probably to save up a little bit actually so we can get some vehicles. There we go, so let's pull you back because you are... I actually need to reinforce you. Just do one just now, and hang at the back. So here we go. Mark those targets. Oh, I should have marked the boss. You can see that they are almost dead. They're down to one man left. Move our builder. So Pathfinders, pull back. I don't want you in close combat. Neither do I want the Fire Warriors in close combat. You guys do the sonic blasts. This is the problem with Kroot. They have really low morale, so they break very quickly. Thankfully we have the listing post online now, so that will help a little bit. But as soon as this marker light ability is back, we're going to light up that boss there, and he should drop very quickly. There you go, he's marked, and you can see just how quickly his health started plummeting there. And we're going to let our Kroot eat up. So we are going to need to do some research to try and improve their morale a little bit, but there isn't much we're going to be able to do for that. Right, let's get our vehicles online. And stealth suits go and capture another position for us. And yeah, let's start reinforcing these guys. Now, one of the fun things you can do with Fire Warriors, which you can't do with the likes of, say, like a Space Marine squad, is build multiple sergeants, or Shaz-Yus as the Tau like to call them. I typically will put a Shaz-Yu and a shield drone just because it gives you the variety. The Shaz-Yu is basically a Fire Warrior with grenades that can be thrown. He also gets some cool armour, painted white. He also gets a pulse blaster rather than a pulse rifle. Oh, sorry, pulse carbine. Which does give him a very slight, and it's a very slight ability to slow units down. But I always try and couple him with a shield drone. And vehicles are online. Now, one of the really interesting things, right? So the Tau's transport, Devilfish troop carrier, is incredibly cheap in this game, costing only 50 rec and 75 power. It's incredibly cheap for a vehicle. It's also stealth. It's invisible, which is, again, for a transport, insane. There we go. You guys peel back, you guys peel back. Where are the crew? So this is where photon grenades become really handy from the Shaz-Yus. And now that we have a shield drone, you can see him there happily floating away, ready to do his job. Energy shields. Activate this, and not so handy against the orcs, but good against like the likes of Imperial Guard. Gives them a shield against range attacks, meaning they take less damage. So what we are going to do, we're going to load up the Devilfish. We're going to actually get the Pathfinder, 3 troops. 3 troops from that. That's insane. 3 squads. Let's get a broadside unit. Build a recruit shaping centre. Probably upgrade you as well. So all we need to do on this is take out the enemy base, basically. And I'm going to guess that they're up here just simply because we keep getting these guys coming around here pretty quickly. And we have some upgrades we're going to do. So we're going to increase the damage and range of Fire Warriors, because that will give us a big boost. And there we go, we have a broadside. So let's get him kind of turned back towards the camera. This is what I was saying about they have these like massive missile launching like gauntlets and these huge railguns that just punch holes in tanks. They can only fire the railguns when they entrench like this, basically turning them into a bunker or a turret even. And this is why stealth suits are awesome as the Tau. They're invisible and you can use them to harass the enemy, or at the very least just capture positions. The jetpack means they can travel over like hills and stuff, so you can use them for surprise attacks. Yeah, so you've seen how quickly he died. I think probably because of the broadside railguns. The railguns have the best sound ever when they fire, or at least I think so. That's builder units for the orcs, Gretchen. So we're going to need to kill them. At the very least follow them, because we'll see where they're building stuff. There we go, yeah, they're building this position here. Oh, that railgun shot is so punchy. I love it. Let's see, what else can we get? Stealth suits become even more accurate. Let's do that. And we are going to go for the Lessons of Mont Ka, so I can get crisis suits, because I do like crisis suits. So here you can see these units were never going to unlock because you need the Kauyon command post, and you can only build the Kauyon or the Mont-Ka. You can't do both. There are different ways the Tau wage war. Mont-Ka is the killing blow, being aggressive, killing, you know, important targets quickly. Kauyon is more about being patient and... Where are you guys off to? It's more about being patient and taking out the enemy with like the use of traps and things like that. So we're going to use our stealth team to kind of try and scout the enemy base. Which yeah, it's here. And I figured it would be here. Right, let's load up the path, the fire warriors even. Let's get another squad. And our population cap is full. Now one of the units I built there was a Crute Shaper. Where is he? There he is. Basically improves the speed and health of the squad he is attached to. On that, it doesn't do much. God damn it, that railgun sounds good. Now the Tau vehicles, we have a drone squadron, which we're going to pick up. They aren't the greatest, to be honest. They've got quite short range, but they do put out a lot of shots very quickly. You have Skyray missile ships. Not fantastic. Really, they have one really good ability. You have the Drone Harbinger, which is very expensive in terms of your population cap. Takes a 5, but it can be quite good to kind of deploy individual drones rather than squads of them. It can be very handy in that aspect, but what you really want to do is save up for the Hammerhead gunships. These things are insane. They carry more firepower than any other mod, any other unit in the game. Even more than the likes of like the Baneblades and Land Raiders. They carry so much firepower, but they are squishier. They're not able to take as much punishment. I actually can't take anywhere near that. Now what's interesting to me, right, is that crisis suits cost 2 population cap, broadsides take 3. I'm going to get 2 crisis battle suits. Because they are awesome. That broadside shot him out of the sky. That was insane. Oh, you guys have been spotted. Jump away. Again, another reason jetpacks are awesome. You can just fly away from somebody when they start being too much bother for you. Here we go, crisis team. So, crisis battlesuits are amazing, and they're probably the reason I got into Tau, because I just love the look of them. The idea that there's a Tau in there piloting that battlesuit is awesome, and they get quite a wide choice of weapons. Again, you can hear the railgun on the listening post firing. It just sounds so beefy. So they come standard with a fusion blaster, which is an anti-tank vehicle, and a burst cannon, which is anti-infantry. You can choose to upgrade them further. So missile pods replace the fusion blaster, I think it is, which makes them more effective against vehicles and buildings, or the flamethrower, which will replace the burst cannon, and obviously it's a flamethrower. Seeing as we're up against orcs, I'm probably going to put flamethrowers on them. Pathfinders, you need to move. He will just annihilate you. Mark the target first. Fire warriors load up. Oh, we have a drone squadron. I didn't even notice you guys here. You guys are actually a pretty good front line for us to kind of soak up some damage. I've seen the orcs are starting to take some territory over here that is concerning. And again, crisis suits get the jump ability. Which makes them really good units to jump into an enemy base and harass. Get closer, use the flamethrower. Look how quickly they die when you melt them. Like, he dies so quickly. And then go blow this up. Okay, I'm going to need to actually build my commander again. And I don't actually have a lot of power. Let's build some more power generators so we can get that upgrade. The teachings of Monka that will unlock for us the Hammerhead gunships. Right, so you guys go and engage those orcs. Oh, there we go. There's another mech boy. You see how quickly he dies to like sustained firepower from the town. We still have the 3 fire warrior squads in there, ready to act. Trying to save them till we get closer to their base. Again, the fact that Devilfish can stealth is just insane. Because it has a decent amount of firepower. It's got 2 drones and a burst cannon. It's a decent amount for a transport. And again, imagine playing this on multiplayer and you're against the town and all of a sudden squads and squads of fire warriors just appear just outside your base because your opponent has brought along like 2 Devilfish transports loaded to basically the max capacity. I mean, like that, I don't even need to click on these guys to attack. The flamethrowers are doing the work for me here. Now I have a sneaking suspicion that the enemy might have 2 bases. So we're going to unload our fire warriors here. The drones are going to go jump in and just deal with some infantry while the pathfinders move up. We're going to click on the energy shields because the orc bases have turrets on them. So we are getting a little bit of ranged firepower coming at us. And battle suits, this is where you jump in and take all the glory. Pathfinders, you guys took a hit. And the battle suits basically just set everything on fire. Oh, stealth team. Fall back to the rest of the team. And that's it. Turns out they only had 1 base. So there we go. We have taken our first bit of territory. We've unlocked a fire warrior bodyguard. They're an honor guard unit. Elite fire warriors that can basically join our commander in battle. And they are pretty powerful units actually. We get a base of war gear for conquering our first area of land. And we get a second piece of war gear because we've got a 3-to-1 kill ratio. We killed far more of the orcs than they did of us. So, I'm going to give us the stealth field, which makes our commander invisible. And I'm going to also unlock for him the flamer upgrade, just to give him some more firepower. And we have 400 requisition. If we go to commander again, we can see our honor guard unit. They cost 210 requisition to buy, but we're going to buy them anyway because we're going to need them for the next assault. And then we press end turn and the AI gets to act. So you basically, this is why I was saying it was a bit like Risk, you act on your turn. So the orcs have moved to friendly territory. The Necrons are attacking the Imperial Guard and have succeeded in taking that. The Eldar haven't done anything. Space Marines are attacking the Imperial Guard and have taken that territory. Chaos are attacking the Imperial... Man, the Imperial Guard are getting it. So, basically the Imperial Guard have already been pushed right back to their HQ. They don't have any territory. Chaos has moved out and taken one of the Imperial Guard outposts. The Necrons have taken some, and so have the Space Marines. We have a couple options of where we can go. So if we wanted to, we could attack the Orc outpost straight away. And if you take out the Orc HQ, their commander is killed and the Orcs can no longer move around the map. They'll still have these areas, 3 provinces here they just won't be able to attack anymore. I don't think we're going to do that. We're not quite in a position to do that, but what I think we might do is, I'm very tempted to move for an area where we get something decent, like a crisis suit or a skyray. What's down here? I think this is the one that gives you the hammerhead. No, there's one of them gives you a hammerhead gunship as a free unit, I think. Or I might be thinking of the next installment of the game. But yeah, basically that is the general. Oh wait, no, reinforcing provinces. So we've just taken this area. We want to be able to hold it in the future, so I'm going to buy us a Fire Warrior squad and screw it, 2 builders, just so that if the Orcs or the Eldar attack that province, we are a bit more ready for them. But yeah, that's the basics of how you play Dark Crusade, at least the campaign anyway. We are probably going to stop there. We've been going for about half an hour or so, maybe with a couple of cuts. So that is going to be it for me today. Next episode I think we might push into the Western Barrens and take this sector from the Necrons. And that gives us a couple more options. I would like to take Pavonis, because then we can basically take control of we can attack any sector, I think we can do with this. Yeah, allows attacking almost any province on the map regardless of where it is. Very strong position to have. But yeah, that is it from me today, folks. So, hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later, everybody.